All right, hey guys, OFD checking in here on a Sunday afternoon, and today we're going to go over 5 reasons that I do believe you should have the Seiko SKX in your collection, especially now that we all know the watch has been discontinued. Now, to the left of the Seiko SKX011J, in the middle here, the orange boy, we have the 6309. This is a 1984 model that I've had completely refurbished. It's all been gone through new seals, water pressure tested. It's a great watch, but it's not original. It's got an aftermarket dial on it, aftermarket handset, or actually factory Seiko handsets, but it's all new. So it actually works great, loomed great, and I can use it for doing pretty much anything. On the right-hand side of the SKX, I have my 7548. This is watch is dated from 1981. I actually purchased the watch in 1982 when I was 12 years old, put it on layaway at a local jewelry store, and picked it up after a whole summer of putting money down on the watch. And you know what? It's pretty interesting because even back then the watch was over $200, I do believe, and it was quite a bit of money for me to save up. And quartz watches in 1982 were still a really big, neat, new thing. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the camera. We're going to get the SKX011J up here, and we're going to go over the 5 reasons I do believe that you should own a Seiko SKX in your collection. All right, guys, so the first reason I think that you should own a Seiko SKX is for what's right here in front of you, and that is just a classic design. It's a super legible, highly useful watch. It gets the job done for time telling. Now, my hand's in a bad spot, but you do have day-date functionality on this watch, and I think it's just a classic diver's watch. I think pretty much anyone seeing this watch from 100 yards away on somebody's wrist can identify the Seiko SKX or one of its variations. Always one of the most popular watches out there as far as divers watches go, and it's always fun to see people wearing a Seiko SKX on their wrist. I think that's the biggest reason we really all love this watch, because the classic design. Now, the design of this case and everything obviously didn't start here. You guys saw my 7548 here in the background. Has a very similar case style. Granted, there is difference to the beveling of the around the crown guard and whatnot, but overall, the watch has a very similar case style. Going back, all the way to even the 6309, they made a variation of the 6309s that had a very, very similar case style to this. So classic styling, and I think it's something that we all love, really, when we look at an SKX. I mean, you go on Instagram and you see pictures of bone stock SKXs, and everybody just loves them. We just really adore this watch. So that, I think, is the number one reason you should own a Seiko SKX. The second reason is just the sheer reliability of this watch. Now, of course, that's going to go to the movement. The movement in this watch, the 7S26, has gone through multiple variations. I do believe there's an A, a B, and a C variation is where they've ended up with on the latest models. All of those have been slight improvements over the older models, adding just a little bit more toughness and resiliency to the movement in the watch. Now, I know it's not hacking or hand windable. You can do the little back hack trick on these watches if you are familiar with that. You can also find videos on how to do it. But even with that, I find this to be a highly reliable movement and fairly accurate. Now, I know that the specs are like, I don't know what, minus 20 to plus 45 a day. It's a pretty broad and crazy range when you look at it that way. But when you wear a Seiko SKX and you wear it consistently, I found that the 7S26 movement really benefits from that consistent wear, and it makes the watch super accurate, which makes sense that, you can test watches over time by setting them on their side, by laying them on their face down, dial up, all those different things. But really, what an automatic watch likes is to be worn. It likes to be on the wrist. The gravity associated with wearing it really takes into play and kind of self-regulates the watch as you wear it throughout the day. So I find that the 7S26 is a very reliable movement, easily to fix, and pretty much any watchmaker out there can take care of the watch for you or drop a brand new movement in it for little cost at all. So that's the number 2 reason. The number 3 reason I think you guys should own an SKX is for the price. Now, I know the price is going up now, but there's a time when you guys can get a used SKX off of eBay or something for just a pittance, for really hardly, maybe a little over $100 at one point. Now, I know the prices are going up quite a bit on these watches as they, the word gets out there discontinued, but you can still get one, I'm pretty sure, out there for under $300. And for under $300, you're getting a whole lot of watch. Now, I know people are going to complain about the fact that it's a Hardlex crystal, but guess what? That's a Seiko Hardlex crystal. Seiko makes everything in this watch. It's a full in-house watch. So I have no problem with that. They make the crystal, they make the Hardlex, they make the movement inside the watch, they make the case, they polish it, they make the bracelet. Everything about these watches is Seiko, and I think that's really, really important, and especially at a price of under $300. no problem. The other thing you're getting, and number four reason is, or four? Yeah, that's four. So number four reason is because it's an ISO rated diver's watch. That's right. This watch meets ISO 6425 standards, most all of them exceptionally, and it even exceeds the water resistance of 100 meters required by that. This one is waterproof to 200 meters. Now, although it's not labeled as a Pro Specs model, these watches do live up to the Pro Specs name from Seiko. So ISO rated diver's watch for under $300. Nothing wrong with that. The last reason, guys, I'm going to give you is because of what it says right up there, just underneath the 12 o'clock, and that's Seiko. So Seiko has been around forever. Seiko's been creating absolutely amazing and innovative timepieces for decades. They're an in-house company. They make their movements. They create their own Hardlex glass. They do everything themselves, guys. And I think that makes Seiko an exceptional company. Did you guys know that Seiko was the first company to commercially make available a quartz watch? Bet you didn't know that. 1969, Christmas of 1969, the Seiko Astron came available. And, you know, past that, kinetic technology, spring drive technology, there's so much that Seiko offers out there, and they keep becoming more and more innovative. They offer us so many different dive watches. I mean, you guys look down here on the table, look on my wrist. I'm actually wearing a modern diver from Seiko, the Sumo. But Seiko just offers us so much, and I proudly wear that Seiko name on my wrist quite often, guys. I think that's one of the biggest reasons you should buy it, is because it's Seiko. And Seiko is a brand that you know it's going to get the job done. I mean, it's just a really, really well-made watch. So, guys, those are the 5 reasons I think you should own a Seiko SKX. I'm going to go ahead and do you a favor and put this watch on the wrist. You guys can see I've changed out the rubber strap to a factory Jubilee, which I absolutely love. So let's get this watch on my 7-inch wrist, and because it's a Seiko, we're going to go out with a loom shot. So the Seiko SKX does fit a lot of wrists. Really, really like it. You know, 42.5 millimeter case from side to side, not including the crown. You've got 45.5 from lug tip to lug tip. So it comes in, it's 46 millimeters from lug to lug, which is great. 13.5 on the thickness because this is a 200 meter diver's watch, 22 millimeter lug openings. The watches look good on Nato straps. They look good on rubber straps. They look absolutely spectacular on the factory Jubilee bracelet here, guys. So definitely cool watch. Let's kill the lights and let's go out with that loom shot. Whoa, I just realized the lights were already off. I killed the lights for the wrist shot. Very interesting, Dunlap. So, all right, guys, so no surprise at all. Doesn't take a whole lot of light to make the Seiko SKX shine. So maybe that's reason number 6 you should buy one of these, because they have the most awesome loom out there. Always love the Seiko SKX and the loom. So, all right, guys, that's the 5 reasons why you should own a Seiko SKX in the collection. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up down there at the bottom. And if you've not subscribed to the UFD channel yet, please do. Please do. Thanks, guys.